I'm Kristie, and many of you have been watching my cooking channel, Cooking Keto with Kristie, for the past couple of months. And you guys leave me the most wonderful comments. I love to hear from you. I love to hear about your own journeys. And several of you have asked me about my journey. In fact, a few people have asked me if I've lost weight with a high-fat, low-carb diet or ketogenic diet. And several folks have asked me if I've ever been overweight. And that question just always blows my mind, because in my mind, it's when have I ever not been overweight? So I thought that I would do this video to kind of share with you my story, especially since folks had asked. I was probably normal weight and I was born. My mom tells me that I was actually 6 pounds. I was a preemie, and so I was kind of small for my weight. Only time I've ever been described that way. So there I am with my big thighs. Even then, they look big to me. I gained weight pretty quickly as a child, and I was about 2 years old there, and you can see those thighs and that belly. It started early. This is me at 19 months, and you can see the arm. I don't wear sleeveless dresses, and you can see those big fat puffy cheeks. I also have this photograph of me with a book, and that was not unusual. I've always loved books and dogs, so you see me with my puppy. But you can also see the belly, and I wanted to share this photograph because of that belly and those thighs. And I was probably 3 years old there. So by the time I was 3, I was overweight, or probably obese. There I am with my pigtails, and you can see probably that's the last time I wore sleeveless in public until this summer. Probably one of my only bathing suit photographs. And you can see how large I was there. And I had a favorite cousin, and you can see that even though I was 13 days younger than he, I was much, much bigger than he was. Adolescence, braces, and look at that very, very chubby fat face. And more adolescence. Really hard to look at these. That shirt was one that was actually made by my grandmother and my mother. They were excellent at sewing, and they would make my clothes because there weren't plus sizes then. And very, very few stores carried them, and they were expensive. So often my clothes were homemade. And this actually, I got out of order, but this was my kindergarten graduation. And you can see how large I was there in terms of the middle. When we were high school seniors, we sat down with a bunch of friends, and one of the graduating seniors of my friends had been in kindergarten with me, and a group of us were looking at the kindergarten graduation photo, and one of the women said, one of the girls said, who's your fat girlfriend beside of you? And of course it was me. I have always struggled with weight. This was in college, my freshman year. You can see how large I am there. This was sophomore year, a birthday. And I actually had lost some weight in that sophomore year, but you can still see how puffy and big my face was. This was my my junior year. I went abroad, and I did lose some weight traveling. Actually, that is me, and probably a size 20 or an 18, maybe a 16, 18 there in college. Well, didn't you love the big hair of the 80s, late 80s, when I was doing my undergraduate work? I was abroad in some of these. This was Guy Fawkes Day in England. That was not long after I had arrived. It was in November, and I look all lumpy and bumpy as an American at Guy Fawkes Day. After college, I graduated, and I was looking for jobs, and I really threw myself into my work. I finished a master's degree, really gained a lot of weight. I was working crazy hours, driving. It was 3 hours. There weren't online classes then, and I was driving 3 hours to finish that degree and working, 50 or 60 hours a week, in addition to finishing my master's. So by the time I finished my master's degree, I weighed over 300 pounds. Now, I'm 5'1". I used to say 5'2", and I just have given up. I'm actually probably 5 feet and 3/4 of an inch. But I'm about 5'1", so you can imagine 313 pounds. I don't have photographs from that time. And I'm not sure I could even share them if I had them. But I decided about the time I turned, before I turned 30, I decided before I turned 30 I wanted to lose weight. And so I pursued gastric bypass. And in terms of gastric bypass, it was for me the only answer. I didn't ask the right questions when I pursued gastric bypass. I had no idea long term what devastating effects it could have on your health. 10 years ago, I would have told people, oh, definitely do the gastric bypass, it's wonderful. 5 years ago, I started saying, don't do it. So anyway, I'll show you a couple of photographs from that time when I actually lost some weight. And there's one, that's me with the blonde hair with a bunch of coworkers. This was me with a coworker and mentor. I was probably wearing a 14, 16 then. And so going from a size 26, 28 from gastric bypass, this was me down in Key West, actually, like I said, was a 14, 16, the smallest I got after a gastric bypass. That's me as well. And then I met my husband. And that was when we were dating and I was still eating high carb stuff. And after I met my husband, we got married, I started cooking, and I started gaining weight. This was actually me on our honeymoon. Look how big I was on our honeymoon. There's another photograph of the honeymoon. And this one is horrible. You can see how big I am there. And there's another one. So I had gastric bypass in 1997, and we got married in 2002, and I was wearing a size 20 wedding dress, and I won't forget that. And there I am again. And we had kids, and as things happen with children, you start to gain weight. So this is me and husband after our last child was born. That was around 2006, 2007. This was us in about the year 2000. This was us probably 6 or 7 months after we were married. He was being sworn in. My husband's an attorney, and he was being sworn in, and I was holding the family Bible for him. And I'm pretty sure that's a size 20 suit that I was wearing. Isn't it funny how we women remember based on what's the clothing, what size it was for all these significant events. And by the time my children were born, I had gained a lot of weight. That's my son in 1996. This is when my kids were little. Oh, those big thighs. I thought I was covering up the worst of me here, and I wasn't for sure. This is my daughter was little. She's here, and that's me. Yes, it's the flowery pants. Oh, I cringe when I see these. Now, all of these photographs I'm showing you now were post-gastric bypass. That's how big I was. This is my daughter on Christmas, and she was probably 2.5 or 3 years old. And there I am, just as big as I can be. It kept me from doing things with my children. This is a photograph of me and my daughter at Chick-fil-A. She was probably 3. And so honestly, I was quite miserable. I have back issues, and I have scoliosis, which is a curvature of the spine. And I was having a lot of pain with my back. And when my husband and I built this house, we built the house in 2012, and we actually built it so that it could be handicap accessible. Our dishwasher is raised. We built it so that if I ended up in a wheelchair, which we felt was inevitable, it may still be, but when we built the house, we had that in mind. Now, we were in our early 40s at that point, and building a house, thinking about would I be able to navigate in a wheelchair. My quality of life was not good. I was so overweight, and again, in spite of having had gastric bypass in 1997, I had gained back up to around 250 pounds. My back hurt so badly that at night, often I'd come home, my husband would act as a walker for me. And he would put his arms out and I would hold on to his forearms and he would walk me through the house or walk me to bed. The pain was so bad just standing to cook dinner that I would go to bed. And I was on different anti-inflammatory medications. I was on 2 different medications to try and manage the pain. I actually had gotten epidural steroid injections as well to try and help manage the pain. And so then something happened. And the thing that happened was we went to a wedding. Now, this was a dear friend of mine. Her daughter was getting married. It was a beautiful wedding at the Country Club at Pinehurst. And we went to this wonderful wedding. It was Memorial Weekend of 2013. And I was wearing size 24 pink suit. And so hard to find clothes. And anyway, so I went and it was outdoors. And it was warm, and my suit was inappropriately 3/4 sleeves because I'm trying to hide my arms. And I look around, and here are all these beautiful women, and many of them older than I am, and they're wearing these wonderful, sexy dresses, and I'm dressed far more conservatively than the mother of the bride or the mother of the groom, who are just beautiful inside and out. And I thought about how limited our lives were, the things I couldn't do with my children because of my weight and because of my back. And I made a decision that weekend that I was going to lose weight or die trying. You know, keep in mind, I've always been a very determined soul. If you tell me I can't do something, I will do it or die trying. And so I decided that I was going to do it or die trying because I thought I was depriving my husband of the wife he deserved and depriving my children of the mother that they deserved. And so in my mind, at least at that point, it would be better to die trying than to continue with the life we had. Now, I look back and see how silly that was, but that's the point where I was. So I went to the science. I have a PhD in educational research, and so I decided that there had to be something out there, some piece of research, some nugget that I was missing, because I knew, having been overweight my entire life, I knew that there was something different for me and something different in my body. And I guess for me, my dream has always been that the science would catch up with it before my demise. So I started reading, and in my determination, I got my app downloaded, my MyFitnessPal, and I decided I was going to count calories, which of course we do, and we eat low fat, which is what we're supposed to do according to the nutritionist and all the guidelines, and I was going to exercise. And so with this kind of hell-bent determination, I started out and started really limiting what I was eating. And the first week or 2 were okay. I lost weight. I probably lost 10 pounds those first 2 weeks. And I was miserable. I was starving. I was hungry. I was grumpy. I didn't feel good. I was lightheaded. I remember just being hungry, and I exercised a lot, but I was losing weight. I lost 10 pounds. And the 3rd week came. And in that 3rd week, I lost nothing. Nothing. I ate a very strict 1,000 calories per day. I exercised at least 3 times a week and nothing. And I called a good friend from our Sunday school class and I said, I need you to pray for me. And I knew that this lady had lost a lot of weight in her history and had kept it off. And so I called her and said, I need you to pray for me because I'm feeling very desperate. I am doing everything right and I'm not losing weight and I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And she said the most amazing thing to me. She said, it's not always about the calories. And I will never forget it because I had called her as I was driving into work and I sat in the parking lot and I was like, what do you mean? And she said, read this book. There's this book by Gary Taubes and the book is Why We Get Fat and What to Do About It. And so at this point, I was parked in the parking lot at work. I got off the phone with her, walked into my office, went to Amazon.com, and I ordered that book. And of course, with Amazon Prime, it arrived 2 days later, and I started reading. And for the first time in my life, in reading that book, I felt like someone knew who I was, and I was reading about myself. I was reading about other people who had done everything right according to general nutritional guidelines, but yet had suffered with obesity. And I knew my mother had been diagnosed with diabetes. I knew that a couple of uncles had been diagnosed, and I figured that that's kind of where I was headed. My father had cardiovascular disease, or has it, and I knew that that was my history, that was my mirror that I was looking into. So when I read this book, and at the back of the book, there is an eating plan, and the eating plan is by Dr. Westman, Eric Westman from Duke University. And so I read that, and I thought, I'm going to give this a try. And so I went to my husband, and I told him what I was going to do. And basically, you eat no sugar, no starch, and you eat high fat, you eat meat and vegetables, and that's it. No bread, no pasta, no rice, no potatoes. And my husband looked at me, and he looked at the plan, and he said, good luck with that. And I could just tell he was thinking, oh, this is some crazy something she's going to do for a week, and then it'll be over, and I don't need to worry about it. And so basically it was, good luck with that. You do it, have fun, let me know how it goes. So I did it. And 2 weeks later, I had lost, gosh, I don't remember now, probably 10 pounds, but I know 2 weeks later, without exercising, I had lost weight. I know that what was more important than that to me is that my back didn't hurt quite as much as it had. And I wasn't hungry. I was losing weight and I wasn't hungry. And I was like forgetting to eat meals, which was crazy. I mean, my best friend's husband will forget to eat meals because he's doing computer programming, but I had never missed a meal, not on purpose, okay? So for me not to be hungry was like my own little miracle. And so 2 weeks into it, my husband, we sit down for dinner. I've totally changed the way I've cooked. I'm doing low carb, high fat meals. And my husband says, okay, I've lost weight. Tell me what you're doing. Tell me how to eat. So this man, who was still drinking Pepsi and still eating Nutella, had actually managed to lose weight just because I had changed the way I was preparing breakfast and dinners, and he was still kind of on his own for lunch. So I explained to him, he never read the book. I kind of told him what to do, and he did it. And since that time, we have steadily lost weight. My husband has lost about 55 pounds, and he is actually smaller than he was in high school. His class ring from high school doesn't fit because his hands are smaller. I've lost 90 pounds, and what's amazing to me about that is that I'm as small as I've ever been in my adult life. At Christmas, I was able to put on a pair of size 8 pants. I've never worn a size 8. Even after gastric bypass, I got down to a size 14, but to wear a 12 and to wear a 10. And the first time I went to a department store, I'll never forget, I went into this store and I didn't know what size I was. I really didn't know what size. And so the sales lady kind of helped me, and I went into the dressing room and I took 16s and 14s and 12s and a 10. And I remember putting on the size 10 dress, and it fit me perfectly. It fit just like it was made for me. And it was fairly fitted. And I stepped out of the dressing room, and the sales lady was there, and she just kind of gasped, and she's like, oh, you look beautiful. And I like, does it fit? I hadn't even asked, does it fit? And she said, it's perfect. It fits perfectly. And the tears started. And I explained to her that I had lost a good deal of weight, and that I had never worn a size 10 in my life. And she hugged me, and we cried together in that store. So I'll never forget that. But those are the kinds of things that I've enjoyed now. Here are some after pictures. I have to share those. I've never had a leather jacket, but I actually found one on clearance. It's a Michael Kors. And can't wait to wear that this fall. I'm actually able to do some more fun things with my kids. That's my daughter. That's me in my size 8 jeans. Look at my smile. That was like, I will never forget that day. My husband brought home a size 10 petite dress from Talbot's for my birthday. And I looked at that and said, honey, there's no way I'll be able to wear that. And actually, maybe it's a medium. I can't remember. I don't think I can wear that. And it fit me perfectly. Those are my size 10 jeans when I got into those. But more important, what I love about having lost weight is the time with the kids. We're on the trampoline. And I no longer take any medications for my back. Now, I still have the same back that I had before I started doing keto, but because I eat an anti-inflammatory diet, I no longer have the back pains. I no longer have to have my husband walk with me as a walker to go to bed at night. I can go up the stairs and kiss my kids goodnight. I'm not kept from doing that because of my back issues. So why on earth do I go on YouTube and share videos and share my story? I tried everything. I spent my entire life locked in a fat suit, not able to do things, either because of me holding myself back or because of others not accepting me. And I do this because I don't want anyone else to have to live that way. We are given guidance, nutritional guidance, that is inappropriate for some of our bodies. Now, I haven't met my final goal. I still would love to lose 20 pounds. I'm not a solid size 8. I'm really more of a solid size 12. I wear 10s and 12 mostly. I'd love to be more of an 8 or an 8-10. I need to get stronger. Exercise is now on my radar of something I really need to make time for and do. I just don't like to sweat. I can't stand it. But I need to do that. So I haven't gotten there. But I'll tell you this last story of something that happened to me just this weekend. My husband and I have been shopping. And we're at Outlet Mall. And my husband had been wonderful about being my Sherpa. We had gone into the Gap, and I can wear clothes from the Gap now. And we had gone into Talbot's, and I went to New York and Company and Banana Republic, which is one of my favorite stores now. And so I had been shopping, and I found some great deals. I love a deal. I'm never going to pay full price for anything if I can help it. And so I had all these deals, and we were getting ready to leave the mall. And as we were leaving, we drove past a store. And that store is Lane Bryant. And, of course, I'm looking at other stores. I'm looking around to see where I can shop. But there's this Lane Bryant store, the sign bigger than life. And I started crying. And my husband, of course, looks at me like, what is going on? And he's like, did I say something? What happened? And I said, it's Lane Bryant. And he kind of nodded. And I explained to him that I had started shopping at Lane Bryant when I was probably 16 or 17. I was in high school. It was one of the few stores that carried plus sizes. In fact, now you can find them at other places, but I couldn't shop at any of the Kohl's stores. I couldn't shop at the Gap or the Limited. I couldn't shop at Eddie Bauer. None of those places had anything close to plus sizes. Lane Bryant or August Max Woman, I think was the other, and they were not stylish clothes, but that was what I could wear, and it was something that my mother didn't have to make with a sewing machine. And it was a 45-minute to an hour drive to get to the closest store, and the clothes were expensive. But that's where I was shopped. That was my go-to place. I am 47 years old, and for about 30 years of my life, Lane Bryant was the absolute only place that I could buy clothes. And now, I can't shop there. The clothes are too big, thankfully. The tears were because of all those years when that was my only option, when I would have given anything to be able to shop at the Gap or New York and Company or Banana Republic. And I can do that now. I can walk in those places, and I'm not walking into Banana Republic or New York and Company and getting the biggest size on the rack and praying that it will fit when I go into the dressing room. I'm wearing the mediums. I'm wearing the average sizes. Yes, I could stand to lose weight. Yes, I could stand to be more toned and strong, but I'm a normal weight for the first time in my life. And that's pretty amazing. And it's not because of surgery. It's not because of a drug. It's not because of crazy exercise or starving myself. You can see from the menus I post, I eat really well. In fact, that's why I love this way of eating. Because for the first time in my life, I eat I'm not starving. I'm not hungry. For the first time in my life, I am normal weight and I'm satisfied, and food is not my enemy. It can be my friend. And that's why I do these videos. And I apologize for the length of this. It's more like a full-length feature film than a YouTube video. So I apologize for that. But I do these videos because I want other people to understand you don't have to buy anything. You don't have to exercise your heart out. You don't have to. You can if you enjoy it. Exercise is good. There are a lot of good reasons to exercise. But it's not eat less and move more. And if I can help somebody else understand the basic principles of a ketogenic diet or the basic principles of low carb, high fat, and help them enjoy their lives, their time with their children, enjoy normal day-to-day activities, fit in the roller coaster, fit in the car seat, not worry about the airplane seat and being over in someone else's space, not worrying about fitting in the booth or fitting in the movie theater. If I can help somebody else figure that out, then I absolutely feel obligated to do that. Now, I'm not usually such a crybaby, so I'm going to wrap this up. But that's me. That's my story. Thanks for listening.